Yeah, I'm going to start by letting you watch I think it's about 2 minutes, a 2 minute video clip. It's a CNN clip. I'll probably just skip through, just show you some highlights or whatever. It's not long. Then basically the video clip is self-explanatory. You'll be seeing a man. He's a Chinese guy, and the industry in China is huge. Well, he is one of the biggest. From the video, we understand that he's like the #1 producer of cockroaches, right, for sale mainly to pharmaceutical industries, but he's also pushing it as an alternative food source, protein food source for human beings. But there's another video I have which you also see that it's also being proposed as something, as a live protein source for or at least an alternative protein source for livestock, fish and things like that. So we're going to watch that video. The prospects are very, very, very promising. Not everybody can do it, of course. Not everybody can tolerate being in contact with these kinds of bugs. But for those people who are willing, it looks like the economic benefits to be achieved are considerable. Now, if you go by the rapid advancement that is taking place in the insect farming industry, where BSF farming and earthworm farming and things like that have really caught on, then you will understand why the option of going into cockroach farming might make sense. Because, I mean, they are so hardy, that's one. Then two, they are so varied in their ability. They literally eat paper, So if you think about that, they are so tough. They are very they have a high fecundity, that is, they're very fertile, they reproduce very rapidly, and they grow very fast. All those are characteristics that are kind of beneficial for commercial rearing under intensive conditions, for that matter. And they don't exactly, cockroaches don't exactly need cleanliness. I'm going to play devil's advocate here, because I do believe there's a place for it in the Nigerian economy for farm business. Alright, so we watch the video, then I'll come back to you.
If you're eating, maybe put down your fork, because Wang Fumin has a surprise for you. Welcome to the roach farm. That's right, cockroaches.
So inside here is where they breed the cockroaches. You can just hear them in here, and they stink of ammonia. And Wang says that in these rooms there are nearly 1 million cockroaches, and it is literally the stuff of nightmares.
I feel close to them, Wang tells me. Just smell that unique smell they have.
Ooh, you can smell it, huh?
Unbelievably, this crop of American cockroaches brings in serious cash for Wang. He's the roach kingpin in a growing market in China.
This is the mother load in this one giant packet of roaches. Wang says there's around 1/2 ton of these critters, and they could all be ordered by Chinese pharmaceutical companies. It's almost 6 feet tall.
Wang says pharmaceutical companies are lining up to buy his stash. They peddle crushed roach pills in China as a catch-all cure for stomach, liver and heart ailments. And it's not just business for Wang. Since the age of 7, he's been admiring and eating cockroaches. And that one's just an appetizer. Because Wang prefers his roaches fried in peanut oil.
I have to say they look worse than when they went in.
He wants to push it as a protein snack. It hasn't quite caught on yet.
So, it tastes like peanut oil, but then the aftertaste is exactly how you would imagine cockroaches to taste.
If you don't try it, you will regret your decision forever, says Wang. David Mackenzie, CNN, Jinan, China.
Right, so there's no point spending too much time talking about what was said in the video. It's easy to understand. But I hear the point I want to make. So the idea of cockroach farming, all right, okay, as for livestock feeding, all right. Now the first thing I want to say is this: if you look at what we have currently as the problem in the farming industry in Nigeria or Africa, we've continued to complain about the lack of viable alternative protein sources. All right, some people are reluctant to go into BSF farming, but I can tell you, of course, if you've been following my brand, if you've been following Okay, my vlogs have shown evidence that some of my farmers are now black soldier fly farmers. So they are doing that in addition to what they are doing. They're rearing. Some of them are livestock farmers. Some of them are catfish farmers. Some are doing a mixture of catfish and poultry farming. Some even have pigs. Then you have others who are just exclusively poultry farmers. Whatever the case might be, they breed livestock. They breed black soldier fly. I'm just saying that if you think about the fact that cockroaches are even more ubiquitous, they're everywhere. They are endemic, literally everywhere in the world. So they are so available. But then this breed of cockroaches that this man has shown, from the studying I've done so far, it is the reports has it that there's a particular variety of cockroaches that are being used in China. They have this white coloration around the neck, and it is my understanding that during the breeding of this particular variety, the gene for flying, for wings, has been deselected, or I think for flying, not for wings, but for flying has been deselected, so that they generally don't fly. So when you look at the videos, you notice I don't know, it didn't seem that there were many of them flying all over the place. But even if they were, they are contained in an environment that does not allow them to escape. There was a report I read while I was doing my research on this subject that said that there was a time some organization, some governmental agency mistakenly demolished a building that had over 1 million cockroaches, thinking that the building was empty. As you can imagine, it wasn't a conventional livestock farm. So that caused the release of these cockroaches into the atmosphere, but somehow I think they were able to contain it. But those are some of the dangers that some people have expressed concerning venturing into this business. Now, I have also that reservation. If in Nigeria anybody is going to do it, one of the challenges I would have, or the risks I would think they will have to deal with and probably make arrangements to address, is the problem of poor diligence on the part of the people that are going to be running the system. Because over here, even the control of things like swine fever, bird flu, all the traditional diseases that animals have, livestock have, that vaccinations exist for, we don't even take the pains to observe the proper vaccination regimes. And so many times we have avoidable outbreaks in many of our farms. People who are pig farmers will confirm to you, African swine fever, all you have to do is vaccinate these animals. Yet people still do not do it and they expose their neighboring farms to it. And the biosecurity measures taken by many people are just below par. So at the end of the day, there are outbreaks and repeat outbreaks and repeat. If only people will be diligent, these things will not happen at the level of frequency that they do. So this is where there may be a problem with rearing of cockroaches. Because if people are going to be rearing cockroaches in such numbers, and people are not going to be diligent in doing all the necessary security, following all the necessary security procedures, then there's a danger here that we might just have ourselves having an outbreak of cockroaches all over the place and in people's homes and all of that. So that's one danger. But if we put that aside and we'll assume that whoever is going to venture into this on a large scale will be doing it right, the benefits to be had are tremendous. First, the point I want to make is that if indeed Nigeria actually got mentioned in several reports I've read as being one of the nations that's involved in breeding of cockroaches, but whoever those are that are doing it, they're certainly not making themselves publicly recognizable or noticeable. Whatever the case might be, however, the point to be made is it's a viable line of business that we can venture into, even if we don't adopt the option of adding it to be as a source of alternative human food that the Chinese have done. Now, the Chinese are breeding it mainly for sustainability. The problem of the cockroach being seen as a pest that can destroy documents and household materials like rugs. Right. So the point is, despite the fact that it can be a problem bug, the truth of the matter is that the cockroach has several useful benefits it can confer on anybody or any society that chooses to rear it in a proper way. So first of all, China in particular began rearing cockroaches as a means to eliminate food waste, because feeding pig on waste, for instance, was banned in the country due to the outbreak of disease. You can understand. I mean, feeding some of your livestock that human beings are going to consume on some waste substances that may themselves contain infections or disease substances or disease organisms could endanger human beings. So it was banned. In many developed societies, actually, there's a lot of controls on the kinds of ingredients you can use to feed livestock. So in some places, some countries, it's not even been approved to use BSF larvae to feed livestock. So they still have to get permission to even breed it at all. However, China saw that there was a problem, and the people in the industry decided that they will settle for use of insect farming. That's why insect farming has grown so much in Asia. All right, so for instance, cockroach farming today, because there's been a huge, it's like the alternative, the viable alternative to the fact that they've been banned from doing the conventional use of waste for pig feeding and other livestock too. So today, it's said that more than 50 tons of waste is consumed today in China through the use of cockroaches on the farms. So they have over 100 cockroach farms across China. All right, and now what do they do with these cockroaches? Believe it or not, some of the things they do has to do with feeding of human beings. They actually served as food. You will see it in the videos you're watching. You will see it gets used as feed for livestock, for fish, for lizards. They rear lizards in places like China, and then even for what's it called, cockroach. You could actually use them to feed poultry. So, but then again, there's the option of actually drying it up and using it. Cosmetic industries, pharmaceutical industries use it in making drugs. There are some kinds of special preparations that are made by pharmaceutical companies that are supposed to cure things like digestive problems. Even it's said to even have components that can be extracted to prevent cancer, so they are anti-carcinogenic. There are some that have to deal with other kinds of ailments in human beings. Indeed, it is being promoted by some pharmaceutical companies in China as a cure-all, as it were. So cockroach-based medicinal substances are being used in many ways in the cosmetic and the pharmaceutical industries. The exoskeleton of the cockroach is said to be useful in the modern cosmetic industries as well. So you can see that there's a variety of benefits that the cockroach is perceived to bring to the table, and given the fact that it's going to be fed on waste, given the fact that it's an organism that can be reared, or quote unquote, the livestock that can be reared at a temperature of about 30 degrees centigrade, okay, and it's going to be something that can be reared in very restricted spaces, that is enclosed and is prevented from leaving the place, and it can survive under. It does. I mean, when you talk of hygiene, you don't even need to have a hygienic environment to rear cockroaches, because they thrive in environments that are not hygienic. So there's said to be a particular kind of cockroach, for instance, in India, that is being bred for its milk. So they developed a technique that helped them to tap its milk, which is a crystal-like compound that is said to be a superfood, and then they of course concentrate it and then sell it. All right. Now it's important to note here, because like again, I'm focusing on China because that's the main place where it's a multi-million-dollar industry right now, and that's where we can the ideas I want to suggest, or the suggestions I want to make are drawn from what I've seen that have been achieved. Universities in China are said to have published papers that back up the claims of the people who are in the industry, the practitioners, the ones that are producing the cockroaches on a large scale. They are saying that what those people are claiming, those stakeholders are claiming, are true, that the cockroaches offer all those kind of medicinal benefits. So you can imagine the fact that the public has embraced it. And then of course there have always been the people that have used all kinds of tradomedical techniques to boost their health. So with the increasing unavailability of the conventional traditional sources for their medicines, they've settled for this alternative, which is said to have, they've been promoted anyway by the people who are producing it as being containing most of other things, all those things they've been looking for or they've always needed. And so people are embracing it, and it's being consumed on a national scale. The thing to note here is that when we look at the cockroaches, we assume it's the same as the cockroaches we may have here, but that's not true. There are said to be about 4,500 species of cockroaches in the world. Now, it is said, according to the UN Food and Agriculture Organization, that only about 30 are carriers of diseases or obnoxious substances. So that means that we have over 4,000 left, over 4,000, maybe 400 that are actually healthy to have around you. So the ones that are being shown for use, are being used in China, that are being handled by the people you see in the video, are actually those ones that belong to that category, not the ones that are the harmful ones, or the obnoxious, the ones that smell anyhow and produce harmful substances and all of that, carry disease, which is what now makes it understandable that they can actually breed them. Having said that, cockroaches still do not exactly look appealing, even visually, when you see them. So I can understand that a lot of people will not be encouraged by that. But the Chinese have established it as a very, very viable form of business. So cockroach farming business is very profitable, and it's actually very easy because they thrive on waste, and there was always a problem of getting rid of waste, which is why the BSF using sustainable waste management became BSF larva breeding for sustainable waste management became something that caught on across the world. But BSF is a more friendly organism, like I've said before in other videos. The BSF larva, the BSF as an organism, you grow it, hatch the eggs, right? Or well, you get there. If you depending on how you do it, maybe you attract them from the wild, you get them to mate. All right, they lay eggs. When they lay eggs, the eggs hatch into larvae. You feed the larvae mature, grow into prepupae. From prepupae, they become adults, and then the adults mate again, and the cycle continues. The thing to note about them and what makes them differ considerably when you breed them from cockroaches is that, one, the adults from the BSF do not fly around and are not as energetic, okay, as the cockroaches. Because one, they can only fly short distances. Two, they do not have so much energy because they do not eat in adult phase. In adults, when they are adults, they only drink water. Okay, so then they die within about 5 to 8 days. So you see, those three things alone make the BSF an ideal organism. It's almost like a public spirited organism that makes itself available to be used and dumped by the world. Because basically its entire life seems to be so that it simply just is there to be a convenience for the rest of us to use. So the larvae are voracious eaters. They are variegated in the kind of food they eat. In other words, they are able to eat a wide variety of food. All right. And they are very heavy eaters. Then when they go into the other stage of life, which is the prepupae. From there they go into hibernation and then hatch into the adult larva, adult flies. Meanwhile, the exoskeleton they leave there becomes usable. You can actually use it as a form of food. It contains those useful material that can be used in other industries. Then the adult itself dies within about 8 days, which you can still feed again to other livestock like fish. So basically what happens, then again the frass, that is a byproduct of the feeding that's done by the larva, the frass is actually used as organic fertilizer, a kind of natural alternative to the chemical NPK. So many byproducts from the same organism, and which is reared in a very controlled condition and which does not give any problems. It gives very minimal problem compared to the cockroaches, which are very energetic and move around and can be very troublesome, or they have to be contained. So I think one of the major issues will be, in our case, if we're going to do it, we're going to have to actually, if anybody's going to do it at this end, because of the tendency of our people, particularly farm operatives, not being diligent, there's going to be need to have real and a really enclosed system that does not permit the cockroaches to escape. Because the BSF, there's less danger of them escape, and again they cause little or no harm to the environment. They are very safe organisms, so they can exist side by side with nature. Even the activities unlike what you have with the fly maggots, all right, the house fly maggots, the BSF maggots or larvae as they're called, they do not cause odor to occur. So when they are being used in refuse bins and in waste dumps, you find out that there's no smell, there's no bad odor coming out, and they actually do not allow housefly larvae to thrive. So when the BSF larva is in a particular and is endemic in a particular location, you find out that you don't get smells coming out, and that's a positive for them. Now the cockroaches is the exact opposite. That is why they have to be reared in an enclosure. But the benefits is that they are highly nutritious. They contain a lot of protein, and the exoskeleton is supposed to be useful for pharmaceutical industry and cosmetic industries. So there's an advantage to rearing them. It's just that the controls that will need to be put in place for rearing cockroaches are considerably greater than what you will need to have for rearing BSF. All right. Now the question is, who are those that are willing to go into this? Well, it's a function of what your needs are. What kind of waste are you dealing with? where are you located. If you're located out of town, it might be something viable. You may be able to create an enclosure where they can be reared, and because we have a natural tropical weather that is conducive to the rearing of these things, they will just proliferate at a high rate. So in many ways it could be to your benefit. And when you're talking about feeding things like fish, you can see in the video, so I think fish that they look like they were koi, they were being fed with the cockroaches. So that's an option there for you. And I still believe that there's a way, because they can be dried, as you saw in the video, the CNN video. They can be dried, and if they are dried, they can then be crushed and used actually as a complement, protein complement to supplement the feeding. You know, because they do have a significant. I think it was said that the protein content is equivalent to what you find in beef, beef, that red beef. So you can imagine that if you can get that kind of protein content, then it's going to complement, it's going to kind of act as a useful supplement to what you normally use as your traditional protein source. But more importantly, it also offers some other medicinal benefits that can actually help your livestock. And the aspect of it being used as human food, I'm not even interested in it. The thought of it makes me want to throw up. But some people are able to deal with those. I'm just saying that for the farm industry, I'm saying this is another alternative option that farm business owners can consider adopting if they can deal with the potentially nauseating idea of handling cockroaches. But like I said, there are different varieties of cockroaches, different species, and if you can get the species that are not the ones that carry infection and diseases, then this might be something that you could possibly consider venturing into as a business. All right, so just some bits of news that is interesting, is entertaining, is informative. Maybe you might be able to use it. Do a Google search will let you have more ideas about how cockroach farming is done. All right, if you have any questions, you can reach out to me.